Is up, Carmination? Welcome back to week 14 of the cash process. I'm your host, AC, with DFS Karma and Bet Karma. And as always, my co-captain, Ben Hostler. We will talk everything last week, week 13. Our cash process will run through early look at any COVID stuff, any injury news. And then as always, we will build strategically early in the week our kind of value plays for each position, as well as tossing out some ideas on some leverage spots that we see early in the week. That's been kind of a nice hit with the show this season in general. So as always, housekeeping, dfskarma.com. Guys, everything's there on the site. Content, projections portal, core plays, our premium packages, our optimizer. I love that thing. I cannot wait to be using our optimizer for NBA season. There is early bird discounts for everything NBA, which, starts in a couple weeks here. That's unbelievable. So NBA will be running full steam, and then same thing to Bet Karma. We have the new website, the update launching. We're super excited about our trends tool coming live there, our Vegas live odds page getting refreshed, content going there every day, prop plays, simulations, and more to come on that site, as always. Now let's get into it. Ben, how did last week go for you in cash games, tournaments? Anything you can take away from the top, and then let's start diving into this week.
Yeah, so I didn't have a great week because I played Derrick Henry on both sites, which really sunk me. Obviously, $10,000 on FanDuel and over 9,000 on DraftKings, and had like 6 points. So that was tilting. DraftKings, I made a mistake. I didn't play Kiki. Like, I should have just played him and Brandon Cooks together instead of just playing Cooks. So I think that was a mistake. And I had a really good build. I had 2 cash game builds on Saturday, and I was just choosing one of them. And the one that I didn't choose was a really good lineup. I really wish I would have went with that one, but I don't know. We had so much value last week. I was sitting there on Sunday morning, and I was like, how can I not play Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry together when I have all this value and it's so easy for me to do so? And Derrick Henry ran kind of bad getting down so early, but that is the concern when you roster Derrick Henry. So that's normally why we don't play him in cash games. But I just loved that game so much that I really wanted to play him. We kind of nailed it on last week's podcast, though. Most of the stuff we discussed came to fruition. Like, we were all over the Browns-Titans game. Obviously, it popped off. We were all over David Montgomery. Obviously, had a really good game. We kind of noted about Brandon Cooks and Kiki. That worked out. So I think overall last week, podcast wise, like, we once again highlighted things pretty well for it being early on in the week.
Yeah, I'll chat real quick on my end, and then we'll kind of go into it. So first off, another thing, awesome contest on both websites, DraftKings and Super Draft. We had a fun little contest giveaway for all subscribers, and unlike a lot of these giveaways and all these websites and communities, we come from an industry where money is king, and I decided to give away over $1,500 to our subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber, again, there's all kinds of early bird discounts for NBA, and you'll get access to some of these things that I'll promote as well. Wink, wink. Christmas season's coming. There might be another one. So get in there now to have a chance at this. But man, I had a good week again. My best cash season ever on DraftKings. Kind of to piggyback off you, I did think Derrick Henry was 100% an elite play, for the record, Ben. I actually was toggling with a Cook plus Henry lineup probably most of the week. And ultimately, the only reason I kind of came off of it was there was, like you implied, there was so much value that, like, I had to make some decisions, and it really just came down to roster construction for me. I'll talk out loud about it real quick, and shout out to a few people literally today. We do always like constructive criticism, pros, cons, how to get the show better each year. And somebody brought up, let's talk more about or showcase the lineup potentially when we go over it. So I think we'll start doing that literally for you YouTube people out there. We'll have the lineup on the screen moving forward, Ben and myself, and we'll just kind of break it down much easier sharing that screen. But for now, I played Eckler. That was a dud, but again, chalk week. I got different, I guess, playing. I don't know. My lineup was pretty chalky with Montgomery, Cook, Eckler, Robert Woods was 30%. I think Cup was a little bit more. Kiki Kuti was obviously you needed him, but he was also very popular. So again, you almost like need to be, I guess, perfect in a way these days in cash games, the way that the value is opening up in COVID era. But I did go with AJ Brown, who was only 3%, and I like to play at least one or two guys, if not just one really low owned guy. I call my hybrid lineup, in our Discord community, and AJ Brown tanked. I mean, I'm looking at a giant snowflake. 11 points last week. He actually dropped a couple big passes in the game. I mean, he easily should have gone over 100 yards, and frankly, he had the ball stripped at the goal line for a touchdown. So it was just a weird day, but ultimately it ended up cashing pretty high up just because I was all over that game in general. And I don't know how we made it about 6 minutes into the podcast, Ben, without addressing the brownie elf that I'm wearing today, because the Browns, as some of you have been watching this show for years, we've been through a lot of heartache. 0-16, 1-15, 2-14. We've been doing these shows been a number of years now, and we get people making fun of us. I see all you YouTube comments out there, but now is our time. I love the system. We say it all the time. Baker's a good quarterback. He's probably more or less a system quarterback, but good enough in real life. But man, he exploded. It was fun to watch. I mean, he can get it done when there's not a pass rush, in my opinion. The Browns look really good. Not to get off the topic, but that's our little Brown shout out as we look to go 10-3 this week. All right, Ben, I'm going back to you. Let's talk week 14. We got some 2-3 strong weeks left of like a real cash game, right? And then playoffs start. So where are you looking at? Talk to me about the chalky play of the week du jour at quarterback at 5,100.
Yeah, so I mean it's only Tuesday afternoon, but pretty clear where you're going at quarterback this week in cash games, and that is Jalen Hurts at 5,100 got confirmed as the starter today for the Eagles. Not a great matchup against the Saints, but he looked really good in relief of Carson Wentz last weekend. And he's just he's a dual threat guy. He's too cheap. Everyone is going to be on him with his rushing upside, and obviously being an upgrade over Wentz. So I think everyone's going to play him in cash, which is fine. So pretty much every other, like, I would guess he is going to be far and away the highest owned quarterback. Normally we don't get mega chalk at quarterback in cash games, but this is one of those exception weeks. So that's going to leave most other quarterbacks relatively lower owned. So it's going to be good for stacks in tournaments. I don't really know. I mean, like, I actually think, like, Taysom Hill's in play on the opposite side of that game. I don't like Taysom Hill, but I can't ignore what he has done fantasy-wise. He's been, like, a top 4 quarterback in fantasy scoring since he took over for Breeze, with Breeze getting hurt, so I can't really ignore that. Watson, obviously, is always a decent play. Tough matchup on the road, but, with how he runs the ball, definitely in play. I think Herbert's interesting, but overall for cash, you're probably just plugging in Jalen Hurts and moving on.
I've done a better job, at least this year, trying to summarize some of your points and also moving on to more leverage. So I'm with you, dude. Like, if Jalen Hurts is like in play, I'm playing him in cash games, and like it's an easy. There's no debate. He's 5,100. He runs the ball. He's got upside. He's going to be mega popular, but it's a great tournament week, and I still think you could probably find an opportunity or two within your cash lineup to differentiate and ultimately still cash in cash games, even though it has been a harder year in general with more value out weekly. 3 quarterbacks right now that I like. I'll go with 4 besides Hurts. These are guys right now I have tabbed in my notes that I will be playing in tournaments come Sunday. Russ Wilson, I mean, matchup against the hopeless Jets. They're going to murder. Rodgers, of course, always. You just mentioned Herbert. He's actually one of my quarterbacks this week, and then I'm probably going right back to Tannehill. I really like that matchup. I do think a lot of people are going to play Henry this week, trying to think that they're outthinking people, but we need to play chess here. And I think it's important to go right back to a Tannehill, Corey Davis, AJ Brown game stack there, and fade Henry one more time and see what happens, because Jacksonville's secondary is really bad. All right, let's go to running back.
Yeah, I think that's a good call on Tannehill, honestly. But yeah, running back is interesting. Don't think many will go to Dalvin against Tampa Bay. People don't like to play running backs against Tampa Bay. So I think McCaffrey at 9,200 is going to end up being popular with Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore are both out. So, I mean, people are going to be focused on some of these Panthers guys, right? Because there's going to be a lot more volume condensed amongst the people that are playing. So I think McCaffrey will definitely be decently owned at his price tag on DraftKings, which when you think about it, when McCaffrey was balling out doing what he was doing last year, I mean, he was around 10K, a little bit more maybe. So you are getting him a little bit of a discount. Then you can move down a little bit. Like, I think Aaron Jones is in play, but I don't know. Like, Jamal Williams does get on the field enough that people don't like to play him in cash games. And then you have James Robinson right there for 7,500. We can't ignore the amount of work that James Robinson has been getting. Still top 5 in carries, top 5 in fantasy points at the running back position. Like, it's insane how much work they've been giving him. And look, Tennessee is not a bad matchup, right? You can definitely attack their defense. So those guys are in play. And then you have Kamara at 7,100 as well. And Eckler, I mean, Eckler was chalk last week. Didn't have a great game, but I'm assuming people will want to go back to him right against Atlanta, which, has been like the pass catching running back funnel for the last couple of years. Like, I'm sure that will get talked up throughout the week.
Yeah, I think you did a good job breaking it down real quick on my end. Probably not going back to the well and cook. I'm sure that'll kill me, but it is a road game traveling across the country. I might have exposure in tournaments, but man, I mean, that defense, that rush defense is really good. So, I mean, I just don't see Cook having a ceiling game. Honestly, dude, I'll probably have zero McCaffrey. That might be a terrible statement come Sunday night, but I think I'm going to have 0% and fade him everywhere, tournaments and cash games. Of course, 9,200 seems somewhat expensive for a guy coming back. Why would they need to rush him? They're 4-8. I just checked because I'm hashtag not that smart. The last place, only a couple games left. I don't see why they're honestly even rushing him back. Even if there's hearsay on coach speak this week, I won't trust anything. So I won't be playing him. I think Henry's a really good play in tournaments, obviously. I mean, that's, again, Captain Obvious statement, but I would get it at least one share in DraftKings this week because he could be really angry. That whole team's pissed. That is interesting, but probably won't go there for cash games. I love Aaron Jones. I told you that pre-pod. So to me, Aaron Jones is in cash game consideration. So is Robinson for every reason you mentioned. Eckler, going right back to the well with him in this pool that I'm looking at. And then dropping down, I don't know. Did you mention Gaskin yet, Ben? I know you're on him.
Yeah, so this whole tier, like below 7K, you have this Zeke versus Montgomery debate, which we'll definitely have to talk about throughout the week. And then you have Gaskin below 6K. So if those guys are out, so last week they were missing DeAndre Washington, Matt Breida, and I don't even remember who their other running back is, but they were down 3 guys. So we'll have to monitor that throughout the week. If they're down a couple bodies again, I mean, Gaskin got pretty much all the work, over 80% of the running back carries. They did finally get Lynn Bowden Jr. involved, but it's really Gaskin's backfield. And Casey's a decent matchup for sure. And he got the I told you before we started the stream that like the hot button thing of the week is going to be that Myles Gaskin had 6 carries inside the 10-yard line last week. So you're going to hear that probably 55 times before Sunday. So if multiple running backs are out again for the Dolphins, Gaskin will definitely be owned. And then we have McKissick too, which I think we have to address. If Gibson, who left the game last night, never returned, if he's out, McKissick will definitely get a lot of ownership. He's under 5K on DraftKings.
Yeah, I would think if somehow tonight in the Ravens game, if Pollard went down, Zeke would be like the nuts lock, but I just want to see how much Pollard's going to play tonight. I don't know, Ben, if you have the snap share of what he's been doing, Zeke. It feels like they played like 2 years ago, Thanksgiving, right? I mean, it's just odd that this is their first game, I think, since, right?
Yeah.
Montgomery, yes, everybody's going to go to that. Well, if they didn't already, they're going to feel burnt. And the people that crushed with him are going to feel great about that decision and probably go right back to him when they realize not only is the matchup awesome, but it's a home game. I lean, I am that sucker. I'm a big believer in home games matter for teams, and that filters right down to the core players and running backs and all that. So home game too. Zeke is an away game for what it's worth. So, all right, let's go on to wide receivers. 9,300. I mean, Devontae he's defying our logic, Ben, because we are not mathematicians, but we grind, we study stats, and we've always tried to stay away from guys at 9K and above at wide receiver. But like, man, I mean, he's just tough to not have in your lineup going into lock on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, last week Devontae at 9K and Derrick Henry at 9K. Devontae was probably a better play, so I definitely made a mistake there. But yeah, I mean, we got to talk about him, man. He's unbelievable. Like, it's getting to the point that it's like, how do you not play him? It's not like they're moving his price up crazy. Like, he's around the same price that he was last week. Detroit's probably still going to be down two corners. Like, Trufant is going to be out for a while. I haven't checked any updated stuff on Okuda, but good chance they're down two corners again. They have no one that can stop him anyways. Another 37 DraftKings points against Slay, like just crazy. So we definitely have to consider
Dome
him.
game, dome
Yeah,
game
yeah,
too.
dome game. I know you like DK, so I'll let you talk about him a little bit. I don't really know, like, other than Adams, and then you could sell me on DK Metcalf, but I don't know any other guys I would want to spend up on. Like Jefferson has been so good, but I would have to. His price is getting up there, like 7,400. Like, I don't think that's like a cash game lock anymore, especially that game being on the road. You have like Michael Thomas has like the Taysom Hill effect. McLaurin could be a decent play at 6,700, but there's really no one that I want to lock spend up on in cash games other than like Adams. I think for sure is definitely a play. Like, we're gonna have to consider him.
Yeah, I think this is one of those rare weeks where I'll break my own rule that I'll never forget. Adam Thielen is the one that instituted this rule 2 years ago in a game. Oh my God, Ben,
Was it
Galaxy
against
brain moment. It
Detroit?
was against.
I was gonna
It was
say,
against
what was it
Detroit.
not against
In
Detroit?
Detroit.
Oh my god.
Detroit. I mean, this is going full circle right now. 2 years. I mean, wow. I'll never forget. He was 9,300 on the dot. I believe 92, 93, and dude, he had like 2 fantasy points. So, and that's the thing. I mean, it's sports, it's gambling, it's DFS, it's all the above. So, it's probably not going to work out like that. But it's just I was scarred from that moment. I'm not going to lie. And 9,300, it's like you could do so much. You really can. You could do so much with your roster if you do pay down. But I got to admit, the dome game is intriguing. I'm getting sucked back in just like a couple years ago. Same scenario. The one thing I do think is different is like, hey, it's Rodgers. It's not Kirk Cousins. You know, just seeing that Marquez Valdez Scantling drop again. I don't think he was going to score a touchdown, but dude, did you see that play? It was like a 55-yard bomb, beautiful pass. Should it have been caught? Probably. It was still contested a little bit, but like Rodgers just eyed him down again for like the 90th time. I think he hates everybody on that team except Rodgers, and it's just this bro effect. I mean, at this
It's
point,
crazy,
like
man.
he's gonna have 10 catches. Like, just I guess I'll
Yeah, and
finish
to
the
that
rest of my
point, like
roster.
you're gonna get to like Friday evening, and you're gonna go look, and you're gonna see the prop, and Adam's prop's gonna be like 95 yards or something. Like, it is,
Yeah, it's like, oh wait, I'm gonna get a
and it'll
guaranteed
it'll be
three
like
extra
minus
points.
137 over 95 yards. Like,
Yeah, so we probably got to play him. I mean, I didn't last week, and I don't know why. I guess I didn't. In hindsight, I just loved the AJ Brown setup, and I saved almost $2,000, and it is what it is. It still worked out, but I digress. DK Metcalf for me, dude, this is just one of those weeks. I've had a few weeks like this year where it's not again a captain obvious statement. I mean, it's freaking DK Metcalf, but are people going to pay him in cash? I mean, I feel like people have not been playing him as much as I thought, and I don't know why. Right? Cash games, GPPs. Like some weeks he's just like 7% owned. I'm like, geez, like what? Why didn't I play more of
has he,
him
has he
just in
been
case?
chalk one week? I feel like Lockett is the
Say
one
that
that's
again,
all.
Ben.
I don't know if he's ever been chalk this season. Like, I feel like
Yes,
Lockett is
Lockett.
always the one that's chalky, right?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah, and you save and again $1,200 going to Lockett. I get it, but there's cheap running backs. I feel like every week, or at least mid-tier pricing running backs nowadays. And I'm not calling DK Metcalf Devontae Adams. I'm not, but it's just again this team coming off a loss at home. The Jets are terrible. The same type of. I'm not comparing body of Darren Waller to DK Metcalf, but I am in a vacuum. In a way. But DK Metcalf, is just how is the secondary going to stop him, man? I'm sorry. Darren Waller did whatever he wanted. The secondary is so bad. I think it might become chalky later in the week. I mean, definitely on FanDuel. I wouldn't even check FanDuel pricing. He's got to be a lock on FanDuel, but I kind of like the 8,400 because it is kind of scary, that pricing, I guess. But I'm going to try to play him this week and just stick with it.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. We got to talk about Robbie Anderson's going to be chalk. He's 6,200 with Samuel and DJ Moore out, which we talked about. He will definitely be chalk. And I saw something. I think AJ Bouye got suspended. I don't know. I'm kind of behind on news today, but he's going to be out if so. But everyone will play Robbie Anderson. With multiple guys out by the time the weekend comes, that will be a thing. What do you do with
I didn't think
Kiki?
about that.
Dude, Kiki's 5K now. What are you doing with that?
I wouldn't. I'm not going to play him. Who are they playing?
Chicago on the road.
No.
Yeah. All right.
There's no point at this point. Yeah, 5K.
There's a couple more cheap guys. I mean, you brought up
Denzel Mims.
Yeah, so you like Mims. You have Rager there if you want to stack with Hurts. I don't know. I think Rager's gonna be really good, but I don't think you need to do that in cash. Like Hurts is gonna run. And then
if I do stick with DK, I'm going Mims.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mims is. I mean, I played Mims in cash last week, so I definitely think that's fine. CeeDee Lamb, I think, could be interesting. I know it's on the road, but they've looked at him a lot. We'll see what happens tonight in their game, but they've looked at him a lot in the red zone. He's under 5K. Cincy's secondary is really, really bad. So I think that's an interesting price.
I like that play. 4,800 for CeeDee Lamb.
It's so cheap, man.
That's wild at this point.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Last week was the week of the true punts in the 3K range. I feel like there was a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anyone that's jumping out right now. Like the last week, like Kiki was so easy just because that Will Fuller news broke early in the week, and it was such a lock, and I can't believe I didn't even play him. I'm such a fish.
It's all good. Let's go to tight end. Are we going? Is everybody playing Logan Thomas?
Yeah, so Logan Thomas coming off a primetime game, dropped 25 DraftKings points. Everyone, watched it. He is definitely going to be owned. You also have Jordan Reed in that same game for 3,500, 200 more. I think he's in play. He scored last night. I think both of them are in play. If you wanted to spend up over them, I mean, who are you really looking at? Like you have Goddard at 4K, Tanyan at 4,200. Really no one. I don't see how any of those guys are better plays in cash games than Thomas. I mean, Thomas is, top towards the top of the league in red zone targets as it is. So I do think.
For the record, we've been playing Thomas.
We played him week 1. We are the people that are allowed to play Logan Thomas because we played him in week 1.
Another guy.
Yeah, I mean I played Logan Thomas in cash week 1, so I can play him whenever I want for sure.
That's the beauty of, especially on YouTube. It's on the tape.
It is on the tape.
Watch the tape. And usually our podcast, today's Tuesday, but generally they come out. We do them on Mondays, honestly, a lot of them. So, yeah, I mean, tight end, I'll say the same thing I do every week. I'm probably paying down. I mean, that's just a fact. And it's probably going to be Logan Thomas this week. And if he's chalk, then, like I said, I'm kind of trying. I have maybe DK Metcalf is my low-owned guy this week in cash games. I don't think he'll end up low-owned. But, all right, defense, last thing.
Yeah, obviously we want to spend down. But while looking at defense, I just realized this further cements that we need to play CeeDee Lamb. This is a little revenge game for Andy Dalton, dude, on the road in Cincy. This is perfect. This is perfect. I didn't even realize this. I didn't even realize this till we're looking at defense. But I actually think Dallas's defense is in play just because Cincy's quarterback situation is so bad. You could use the Giants. I think are interesting at home against Arizona. Kyler a little banged up. Maybe he played much better against the Rams. Actually, played better than I thought he was going to play against the Rams. But the Giants' defense is sneaky good, dude. They're not bad.
Yeah, for sure. I like that call. I mean, honestly, I'm going with I just put in the Cowboys in my placeholder lineup. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, putting in the Cowboys 2,400 save money. I mean, I guess the Bengals are there too. Ultimately, if you don't play Zeke, but every week I'm paying down. Any last thoughts, Ben, on this week's podcast as we get closer towards the end of the year? Anything NBA wise that you need to bring up?
Yeah, so I don't think we've announced this yet, but we are gonna do some preseason NBA stuff. So be sure to check that out in the coming days. It starts on Friday. It runs for like 8 days. So we'll have like a package up for that. Get some core plays and like some Discord action going. So that'll be fun. But yeah, NBA is gonna be a blast, man.
I can't wait for NBA. I mean, I'm so excited just to have a daily sport, like just something to kind of tilt every night, I guess, right, Ben? So all the NBA stuff will be on the website, dfskarma.com, betkarma.com. Like I said again, there's a lot of early bird discount stuff on things. We do a lot of free stuff as well. So just get ready, people. NBA is coming full swing. Good luck this week, and we will talk to you guys next week.